This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, welcome back. So in today's session, we'll explore about the Linux commands and we'll try to understand the importance of these commands in our course and learning. The agenda of this session, I want to keep it very simple and straight, that you may feel this session that you are already aware of these commands, or you might be feeling that this is it's like you might be aware of certain commands. The aim of this session is all of us should have a clear picture of the command and the usage of command, so that when I use these commands, or when you use these commands during the course, you shouldn't have any kind of issues understanding it. So the purpose is, if you are already aware of these commands, that's well and good. If you're not, it is kind of a new learning for all of you, because most of the scenarios we will be doing a deployment on Linux machines. So proper knowledge of commands can really help you to better understand why this command and how this command. So if you people are clear with the agenda, so I need a quick confirmation from all of you there so that I can proceed further from here onwards. Thank you, people. So let's get started. So I will be needing to get started with the category of the commands. It's like information regarding the system that I'm running on. The first thing is I would like to get started is the date of the system. I would like to go ahead and understand what is the current date and time for the system or the server that I'm hosting. Since we are dealing with infrastructure services, there will be a lot of scenarios where we need to understand what is the date and time of the system. There's a command called date that should, when you run, it will display the server date and time. It's not your geolocation date and time. Now the question is, I would like to go ahead and check the working of this command. So for working of this command, what I need is a Linux machine. So people, can you please let me know what is the easiest way that you can provision a server? People, what is the easiest way that you would recommend me to provision a server? I need a Linux machine. How fast I can provision a Linux machine, right? Definitely, I would prefer to use Vagrant in this scenario. So what is the command that I need to do? I need to go ahead and get started with the simple command that Vagrant. Could you go ahead and get started with? I just, even before starting of the session, about uh, about some time before starting of the session, I started a Vagrant file. The Vagrant file is available. Vagrant initialize Ubuntu box. Started the machine. Now I have the machine ready. So all I need is just Vagrant. Could you go ahead and do an SSH into that machine? The moment I do, I would be ready with the Vagrant Ubuntu machine. So I can go ahead and use this machine for my practice purpose. People, have you understood why I'm using Vagrant? Now, Vagrant will provision me an Ubuntu box, which is an Ubuntu machine now, which is a Linux machine now. See that now the Vagrant is ready and it has started me welcoming to the Ubuntu machine, which is a 14.04, which is quite sufficient enough for my practice for my Linux command. You people are clear? Can I expect a quick confirmation from everyone there? Yeah. So the first command was the system command that I wanted, but there are a few other commands which I'll be definitely discussing with you. First thing is type date. The moment you type the date, it is going to give you the server date and timings. It's not your geolocation timing. If it is geolocation, it should have been 8:10, and this should have been different. So it is about 2 a.m. early morning UTC timing. Scenarios where you may come across where I need to understand the calendar of the server. It does display the cal. Command is cal. So people, what I've done is I have even gathered all the commands, so you don't worry about it. So whatever the commands that are there, we will be I have already listed them, so you can use this, uh, you know, documentation a little later when you want to overcome it or when you want to rewrite it. I have documented all this, so I'll share this file with you so that you guys can practice the commands whenever possible, right? So this is how I want you to do. So right now, a command, explanation of the command, and the at the same time, I want you to practice this command along with me. If you are ready with your vagrant box, even if that would be very good. So you can even type the command. CAL will give you the month's calendar. There will be scenarios where you have to understand from what time your server is up and ready. People, we are in the infrastructure business, so we have to give our customers that what time your server got started and what time the server was running without any kind of interruption. We call it as uptime. So what does this uptime will do? Just go ahead and type uptime in your vagrant box. It is saying from last 2 minutes, no, not about 2 minutes, from last 17 minutes, your machine was up. From last 17 minutes, it was up. Now, this is a kind of report that we will be submitting to our customer saying that from last 24 hours, your server was not down. From last 48 hours, there were servers that are up from the last 3 years, 5 years. They cannot have even a downtime for that server. There are some servers like that. So customers ask us, can you give us a report where we want to see how many number of downtimes that server has or server allowed downtimes that it is undergone, or what is the uptime for it. So the command uptime will help the users to understand the server was up from the last 17 minutes. Now I'm expecting 18 minutes. Now it is 18 minutes. From last 18 minutes, the server was not down. Clear picture? Are you clear now, people? How is that I want the system? So I'm practicing the command along with you guys, and it's like I'm explaining the command as well, right? Okay. Now, the next command that I want you to understand is sometimes we will come across scenarios in cloud where we need to understand the user information, where I want to understand who this user or who are the users that are right now available. So I can commit a command that who am I? It will give me user vagrant. If I type W, it has view information regarding the user. So who am I is a command that gives information regarding the user that I've logged in. So the user that you can see is people is vagrant at the rate the name of this machine. The name of the machine is vagrant -Ubuntu -trusty -64. This is a user that I've logged in with. So that is how I'm able to get the information that who am I does view display regarding the user that I've logged in with. I want to know more about the online users, the users who are right now online. So user, from what time did I log in, and what is the state that I am right now. So more information regarding this user. So you can even see it has given me information regarding the uptime, the load usage, and also the time that I'm available. Next, as I mentioned, you will be able to get information regarding the logged in users. Right now, there is only one user that I logged in. So it is the vagrant user by default. I would like to get a little more information regarding this user. And the information is given to me that this user vagrant is available, but I wanted to know more about this user. This is a command called finger space user. So let me just go ahead and give the explanation for it. So finger, then the user. The user in this case is vagrant because there's only one user. If you don't know how to get the user, who am I? One user. So I would like to go ahead and finger this user. Okay. So it says the program finger is currently not installed. So right now this Ubuntu is not associated with this finger. There is no command that can be recognized by finger. So it is asking me to run finger. Please ask your administrator to install the finger. So what I want to do is now I will go ahead and try attempting installation. So this there is a package that you guys we call it as app, or you can even type apt-get. In both the cases this is an installer. So what does it installer will do? Apt-get installer. If you go ahead and install finger in this case. Before that, apt-get is a Ubuntu product. It's a product that would help you to do installations. Likewise, when you go ahead and use Red Hat, you will use Yum. So as much as possible, we would be using in most of the scenarios Ubuntu. So it's now apt-get install finger and hit enter. Now, when I go ahead and make an attempt to install this, it is asking me, okay, I'll not be able to allow you because you have permissions issue because the permission is getting denied. Why? Because I don't have the administrative privileges for it. So it is asking me, Mr. Are you root? I say, no, I'm not the root. So how to pick the root privileges? For this, you can type sudo space su super user. That will pick the user. Now, how to get the information regarding the user people? Who am I? Now you can see the user is root. Now the root is a user. If I do an exit from this root mode, it's like back to waking. People in Windows, we call it as administrator. I hope you people can relate to administrator. In Linux, we call it as root is the admin. So now, if I want to rerun a command, you can press up arrow. It will take the last ran command. So install finger. Still, I didn't pick up the root privileges. So how to pick? Sudo su root privileges apt-get install finger. Hit enter. The moment I hit enter, now it is able to get the packages from the Ubuntu repositories. Ubuntu.com is the official documentation, official page for Ubuntu. There it resides with packages. So from there it is getting off the packages. Now Ubuntu is ready with the finger packages. Now I hope that installation was done. So let's go ahead and check finger. Finger is working fine. CLEAR does clear your screen. Will not clear your output, it does clear your screen. Now it's once again finger. I want to get more information regarding the user called Vagrant, finger space Vagrant. Now it is saying you have logged in as a Vagrant. The shell that you have is bang/bash. You have been available from this time, from last 7 seconds. You are idle, no mail, no plan, nothing. Let me make an exit. So how you make an exit? EXIT. Now you're back onto Vagrant. I'll try to make sure that all the relevant commands are running under the user called Vagrant. If it needs admin privileges, I pick admin privileges by typing sudo su. If you people have understood now the commands till now, whatever the commands I've discussed, can expect a quick confirmation. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I know these are very basics, but just to be sure that we don't miss any command, I'm spending time with you people. If you're feeling this one is boring, please do let me know. If you feel this, if you want me to skip this, I'll definitely, take your word as well. If you want me to skip, we can. If you want me to continue, please do let me know. Yeah, thank you, people. Now, scenarios where you will come across information regarding the system. I want to get information regarding CPU. My client asked me, okay, your server is running in AWS Cloud. Mr. Kumar, can you get me how much of CPU utilization has been done? So I will use a command called cat. That means concatenation. I would like to go ahead and get the proc. That I would like to get the CPU. People, I want you to understand another part of it. When you type tab and after that you see I said PRO and I'll press tab. Whenever it whenever there is a directory or whenever there is a folder structure like that, no problem. Appreciate it. So for those people who are using Windows, people, there are certain commands that will work for you, but for those people who are using Mac, you can continue directly the commands because Mac is another shell. So it will run along with it will run. So for those people who are using Windows, please provision a Vagrant machine. If your Vagrant box is not running, then you have to use an online shell. Just type in online Linux shell, you'll get any shell. If not, if you're using Mac, then please use terminal because it's another shell that will run. It's a shell, it's a Linux box, right? Thank you. Now back onto this. So whenever you see there is a PR symbol and followed by tab, that means there is a directory available. There's a directory that is available. I'll explain you this one in cd command a little more. But what does it mean? It means there is a folder that is available. There is no folder keyword in Linux. The concept is running with the command, the concept of, we call it as directory. So in this directory, I would like to get more information regarding the CPU. Now I'm able to get the CPU. The client says how much of CPU allocation is done for this RAM. I want to get more information about it. So you just go ahead and get the information and hand it over to the client. The client will look into this model. We will be sharing screenshots sometimes. So I need to share, screenshot about the server. Let's say there are about 5 servers running in AWS Cloud, and we need to give him information regarding. So what we do is we take a screenshot of it, send in the form and attachment. Client is very specific about the CPU utilization. Sometimes they're asking us to send alerts every now and then for a period of time. In a half day time, they want the CPU utilization. We will send it across. Next, I want to get more information regarding the memory. So cat /proc mem info. Your RAM. The previous gave you about your CPU. Current is giving you about your RAM. The amount of RAM that you have, the amount of free RAM that you have, cache. So this, I'm not going to go into all those details, which is not required at this moment, but in case if you have to work on a scenario where you need to get information regarding your memory does give you all these commands are already documented for your practice purpose as well. Now, regarding the storage, I want to go ahead and get information regarding the usage of the disk. Disk DF. So disk and DU, disk usage. This will give you file storage. This will give you disk usage. How much of disk has been used and how much usage has been done for each directory. So DF will show you disk usage. Let's say I have 500 gigabytes of storage. So how much of disk usage has been done? I want to know how much of each directory has consumed in it. So DU. DF is giving you what are the file systems and the storage for it and where they got mounted and how much is allocated and how much is allocated for your each directory like .ssh folder, .cache folder, this is the root folder basically. I want to know how much of free space is still left. Type free, it will be able to give you the free space. Now, this is one important command which I feel is regarding the application. So let's say I have an application. Now the application I need is Java. So now Java is not available, but I want to know if Java is installed, where it is installed, and where exactly the Java, wherever possible, I want to get into it. Java is not available. So it says you can get started with installation. So I will get started with the open installation. So how to install, people? Pick up your root privileges, sudo su, in the root. You would go ahead and clear your screen. And now this is how I want to get started. App, you go ahead and get space install, open JDK head -gre headless. So this is an open JDK which is available for your installation. Hit enter, Java would get installed. Now it is asking, do you want to continue? Press capital Y. It continues further. Now you will see the installation will get through. Java is expected to continue. It's now getting ahead with the installation of Java. Now, scenarios where I'll be looking out wherever Java, where is Java? That means it will list all the possible locations where the folder Java, the application Java is installed, possible locations where Java is installed. So let me just finish this installation and I'll explain you with an example. I'll type where Java. Now it will be listing all those folders or directories where Java is installed. Very slow. Is there any background running in the process? So now back, uh, Java got installed. Now it's time for Java. Java. I would like to go ahead and verify the version of Java that got installed. So now Java got installed. Java is very much ready. So now what I want to do is I would like to go ahead and check where is Java. Right? Wherever Java got installed, please do listening. Now it says these are the folders and files that I could find in user/bin Java, user/bin 11 Java. That means a version of Java. This is a folder. But I want to know, where does it get started from? Which folder does this Java get started from? Which Java? So it does get started from user/the default folder. Where does it get started? By run by default. By default, where does it get started? So it gets started by /bin/java. Here to all of you people, I would like to go ahead and check whether PHP is not installed. See, it is giving me a suggestion to install it. So I'd like to go ahead and install PHP. If I put -y, that means I would like to go ahead and say yes with the installation. That's how you will proceed. enter. So you don't need to manually enter capital Y. It will pick this Y as a flag or yes, and it will continue further with the installation. Okay, I guess PHP got installed. So let's verify. So if I ask you where is PHP, so where is PHP, it will list all the folders and files where PHP. I would like to go ahead and which PHP. So it does respond you the folder where it gets started by default. Can I expect a quick confirmation from all of you here, people, regarding the simple commands regarding the system info? Can I expect a quick confirmation from all of you there? Okay, fine. So once you're clear, this is the system commands which will be used. People, it doesn't mean that these are the only system commands that are on running with Linux command. No, it is not the purpose. The purpose is whichever the commands that we will be heavily using in and over the course, I'm trying to bring across so that you guys can use it and keep it for your learning. But there are even more commands which if you believe, if you get some time, you can go through any documentation of Linux, you will be able to get it. The very good thing is the commands that you're going to show is irrelevant whether you use it on Ubuntu, whether you use it on Linux. But the way these commands will work are same because the entire Linux works on the concept of kernel. The kernel is the same for all of the Linux. The distributions are different. For example, if you look at a distribution like Ubuntu, look at a distribution like uh, Red Hat. So all these distributions are based on the simple concept. These are flavors of one which are called Linux. So you don't need to run separately commands. It is not that you will have to learn separate commands, but I want to understand is all of these distributions, Ubuntu, Red Hat, or any other distribution are flavors of Linux. So these commands are expected to run the same. But the way the distribution works is little different. Maybe in distributions of installation, I use apt-get, which is an installer, which does differ from Red Hat, where I use yum. People are understanding the purpose. So apt-get is an installer that I would use on Ubuntu. So the running of commands is little different when coming, but the system commands, whether it is Ubuntu or Red Hat, the system commands, the networking commands, the file commands are the same. It will work in same in Ubuntu. It will work in same in Red Hat. So you don't need to do a separate learning for it. Okay. Now, based upon this simple understanding, let's continue our learning further. This is something which I feel very important is your file commands. How does the file commands work? Now, very simple. So if you want to get started, I'll get started and type in ls. ls means it will go ahead and list all your commands. Right now there are no, ls means list all your directories and files. There are no directories now, files there. So ls hyphen a, it will list all the hidden files and folders structured. I want to go ahead and get more information regarding the listed files, then I'll be able to get ls-al. So this gives you the permissions that are relevant to that file or folder. This means read, write, read, write. So I'll explain you when we go ahead and chmod. I'll explain you what is this read, write for the file. Directory listing. Once it's done with hidden files, formatted listing. Okay. Now I would like to go ahead and change directory. So I would like to go ahead and change the directory. I would now want to go into this directory called SSH folder, cd.ssh folder. Now people can see that right now I'm from the root directory into a directory called SSH folder. How would I know which directory I am in? pwd present working directory would give me which folder or which directory right now I'm in. I'm inside the home. Under that there is a vagrant folder, and inside that there is an SSH folder. I would like to go back. CD With two dots, it will take you to the previous folder. CD will take you to the root folder. What I'll show you once again, cd.ssh folder, when ls is an authorized keys. There is a file which is under the name of authorized keys. I would like, I don't know where I want to go, but I want to go out of this folder. I want to make an exit to the root cd space double colon. It will take you one folder. Let's say there are two folders, one folder inside. So there is root folder. Under that root folder, you can see there is a .ssh folder. Inside the .ssh folder, there is a new folder called nu new. So I would like to go ahead into this folder. So cd root folder .ssh/new. So I'll be inside. I don't know where to go. I want to come out of this. So you can directly go into the root folder by cd. If you type cd colon dot dot space dot dot, it will go to the next up, which is .ssh folder. Now, once this part is clear, let me just go ahead and show you the other command, which is like present working directory. Now it's time for me to get started with creation of directories. I want to get started with the directory creation. Get the screen first. Now I'm inside my migrant folder, do an ls, there's nothing. mkdir, I'll say my directory 1 is d1. I'm making a directory d1. The name of the directory is d1. I would like to go ahead and shift the change. I want to change into directory 1. So cd d1 directory 1 pwd, it will give me that I've changed my directory into here. Make an exit. cd will come out to the root folder. Now I would like to go ahead and remove this directory. I've created this directory. I want to remove this directory. So remove is basically for a file. Remove -r recursively you will do for a directory. Even if you type remove d1, it says you cannot remove because d1 is a directory. So what should you use? Remove -r d1 directory. You will be able to see that the directory will get deleted. Can expect a quick confirmation, guys, regarding the option rm and the usage of rm. If there is a file, let's assume there is a file. How to remove the name of the file? If you have to remove directory, remove -r. Now if directory is not getting removed, you want to remove it, so you can even apply force remove -rf, the name of the directory. So let me show you once again. mkdir make directory. I want to create a directory 1, or let me see directory 2. Now what I have is two directories, directory 1 and directory 2. What I want to do is I want to delete directory. So rmd1 not able to delete, rmd2 is not able to delete. So rm delete -r recursively. That means recursively. Recursively means it's now, instead of treating it as a file, it does treat it as a directory. Now people, at one shot, I'll remove these two files with one command. What I do, instead of writing d1 and d2, I type d. So what is going to happen wherever, whatever it sees after d, which 1, 2, 3, all these files will get deleted. All these directories are expected to get deleted. Check it out. In this list, when I can see that d1 and d2 are available, now I'm going to delete d star. Now, if you do an ls, no files. To make it even clear, let me show you. So mkdir directory d1, okay, mkdir d2, mkdir vd1, mkdir vd2. Now, if I go ahead and list how many directories people can you expect now? How many directories can you expect? How many directories are you expecting now? 4, T1, T2, VD1 and VD2. Now I want you to remove only D2 directory. I want only to remove D2 and VD2 with a single command. I want you to delete it. So what is the command, people? Remove -r recursively star D. Because I said what files I want to remove, D2 and VD2. So what is the pattern that you will see in common? The pattern that I see in common is D2. That means anything before and after is D2. So now here remove -r star D2. So now D1, VD1. If you put D star, now what would happen if you put D star? D star means it will delete D1, D2, all, it will delete D1 and D2. I said I don't want to delete D1 and D2. I want to delete D2 and VD2. So what is the pattern in this case? The pattern in this case is anything before followed by D. People, are you clear now? So this is how the scenarios that you will come across where we need to delete files, where we need to delete files, we need to download the files, we need to create the files, we need to delete the directories. In any case, we can give, right, we can do that. So that's what, let's do one thing. Let me once again do it. Let me create mkdir. Let me create D2 now. Let me create directory VD2. Now people, I want you to delete. I want you to delete only, let's say I want you to delete D1 and D1 and VD1. I want you to delete. What is the command that you would follow? Okay, let me do that for you. So remove -r *2. If you do *2, what would happen? It will delete D2 and VD2. D1 and VD1. That means it has deleted D2 and VD2. Clear picture? So I want you guys also to play with these kind of permutations, these kind of commands, so that it will be able to help you to better understand things. Okay, now back onto the discussion. So okay, so directory. Now I'll tell you the reason. So directory cd d1. Now inside this I'll just put a file. File name is just, now this is d1 present working directory. I'll make an exit. Okay, I'll make an exit cd vd1. There's nothing inside it. So one folder it was vd1, another folder is vd2. Now it's time for us to get started with the usage of directories. Why do we use it? I'll just confirm. So file deletion, directory deletion, remove by force, remove with a force, that is removing the file by force. Sometimes files won't get deleted, so we need to apply a force. I'll explain you how to delete a file also. Remove the directory by force. Now I have to start using the folders now. For that, let me check, can I pick two privileges? SUCD, do an ls. Let's say now I'll do is I'll do an SSH into this folder, and if I do an ls, I see this file. I want this file, right? I want this file, people. I want to copy this file from where? From this current folder into my D1 directory, right? See that? Copy is the name of the command. Authorize keys, and authorize keys I'll write and I'll give _1. So the name of the file, or I'll give another name for you, is copied file or authorized keys. I'll give a name cp_authorized key. Now, how many files people can you expect now in the same folder? How many files can you expect now? In the same folder. I'm not going to change the folder now. Okay, now you see it will have two files. One, the real file, and the other one is copied file. What I want to do is now I want to have this copied file. I want to copy this file. Let's go to that file, authorized_keys. Okay, where is that I want to copy? I want to copy under home. There is a vagrant folder. Inside that directory D1. Inside that authorized, I'll give a name D1_authorized keys. Is the name of the file that I want. Let's now navigate and see cd, make an exit. Now I'm back onto vagrant. Now to files, you see there is d1 and vd1, cd to d1, d1 ls. There you go. This is the file. People, are you clear? Now the purpose of creating directories. Directories are the kind of folder structure where you put your file there. Now I was able to copy from the .ssh folder the copy of that file into my vagrant directory, which is D1 in this case. Can I go ahead and copy this onto my root? Can I copy here? Present working directory is root_vagrant. I want to copy this file. So how to do that? Copy _home vagrant folder. There's D1 authorized D1_authorized key. Okay. D1_D1 authorized keys, and say authorized. Right. I cannot do this because I don't have root privileges. So I do cd here it is. Fine. Can I expect a quick confirmation of all of you people regarding the copying of the file? I'll make an exit and now done. Now I have. Now I don't want this file to be available here. I want to move this file from this folder into VD1 MB authorized keys. Please move this folder into home vagrant VD1. If I do an ls, you will not see this authorized key because this authorized key got displaced into where VD1. So check it out. CD VD1. ls, you see the file is available. Can I expect a quick confirmation regarding the method of copying and the method of movement? How do you move MB, copy, CP? What is the difference? Copy means it will create a copy of that instance, the copy of that file. Move means it will completely move the object from the current folder to the destination folder. Now let's check it out. How to create a file. Till now we are focused on directories. Now I want to create a file. Plenty of ways to create a file, right? First thing I want you people to understand is a very simple editor that I prefer to use is Nano. Nano is a file editor that would help you to go ahead and create a file. So let's say Nano. I'll give a name called file1. The name of the file is file1. Nano, name of the file is file1.html. This is how you will create a file. This is how simple it is. Nano space file1, hit enter, black screen, which is the output window, or sorry, input window where you will write. Let's say H1, hello world, close H1. Control X. Please do remember how to make an exit. Here you can see how to make an exit. This is control exit. So control X. It will ask you, do you want to go ahead and make the changes into the buffer? Okay, press capital Y. Shift capital Y. Shift Y, that means capital, and then hit enter. The file will get saved. And now you can see there's a file1.html. People, now I hope you are clear with the concept of Nano. Nano is an editor that would be used by administrators to create a file. Now let's go ahead and use Nano once again to open that file. Nano, can you open that file? Now this time it is asking you to append. I can even append now. The word, in this case, to author is X capital. Now there's a file.html. I want to see the contents of the file. Concatenation cat file.html. Without even logging into the file, I want to get the output from the file. Can you just concatenate the contents of the file? Cat file.html. So one editor that I use is Nano. Another editor I use is VI. Another editor I use VM, VIM. So let me show you how to use VI. Just give me a moment, please. Okay, so people, uh, what I want to do is now I want to use VI. VI. Let me create another file. This time I would like to go ahead and create a new file, which is file2 dot HTML in the same case. Now, this is very difficult to practice. This one is very difficult, very typical, sorry. I want you to understand how to write. This is a black screen. You cannot write anything here unless until you go ahead and type, press I. Means you're inserting, you're in the insert. H1, hello world. Okay, and H1. Now, I have to make it is not control X that you will allow. It is now ESC, that means you are coming out of the standard screen, colon, W, that means whatever the right mode that I was, I would like to go ahead and do a quit Q factorial. Now, you have made a successful exit from the file. People, once again, vi file2.html. Why is that? Press I, it's an insert mode. Now, press I. Okay, now I'll just add another line here. H2. Okay, ESC wq quit. What I'll do now, I'll try to open this file now. There are two files, file 1 and file 2. I'll open file 1, vi file1.html. Now it is asking me which file do you want. Press 1, press tab. It will automatically list the file. Nano, go ahead and help me for file 2. Now I want to delete this file. Remove R. I don't need to use R because it's a file. File. It is asking what is a file, file 1 or file 2. File start. It will delete both the files. Once again, nano file 1 or file 3.html now. Hello world. Control X. Changes. So the file right now available is file 3, vi file 4.html. Hello world. Changes by vi. Esc w quit. Do an ls, you see file 3 and file 4. Now what I want to do is people, I want to go ahead and copy this file 3 into VDI. File 3, file 3.html, or if I want to copy both the files, copy or recursively file 1 and file 2 into VD1. If I do an ls, cd VD1, you'll be able to see file 3 and file 4. R means recursively file 1 and file 2. People, have you now understood the purpose of recursiveness? Can I expect a quick confirmation from all of you there, people? So I've all documented everything as much as possible. I'll explain you about the head and tail commands. Now, I wanted to do one thing. Let me just get some text and let me just copy that text. This is sample text. Yes, do some sample text here. There's no text at all. Why I'll tell you the reason why I want to show you this text is I want to get this nowhere, man. It's not ending at all. I want to get some content and I want to paste that content into it. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this content now. And I'll do now is nano, and you open the file 3.html and right click and press. It's copied there. Control X. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and head the file. Head. Name the file was what is the file 3.html. Now it is able to get the first lines of the file. More or tail file 3.html. Now it is able to get the remaining part of the content. Now the file is continuous. The file is continuously adding. So tail hyphen r, okay, file 3.html. For f, this hyphen f. So it is going to trail. If it's just imagine there is a log continuously print. So I want to see the last 10 lines of that. We'll see. You'll come out of it. It's just a static content. Now there is a log for every second to second. You see logs getting generated. How that logs are getting generated, because it starts to strip from last 10 lines. So I've mentioned here. So if you want to get the last output, if you want to get as a file starts to grow, then you can mention -f. Now, scenarios where I need to get a download. So I would like to go ahead and download, for example, Maven download. I want to go ahead and download a package. Maven is a kind of a build tool, which is kind of a download. Now I want to download this zip file. So what you need to do is you need to go ahead and copy this link for download and say wget, right click, the link will be available, hit enter, the file will get downloaded for you. Now it's a zip file. The file gets downloaded, run ls. Now you see there is a zip file. Now, how to extract a zip, unzip? Unzip, just type A and press tab. It will pick the entire name. Hit enter. Now it responds me, hello boss, you're trying to unzip, but the file unzip is not available. The package unzip is not available. So people, what is your suggestion? Pick root privilege, apt install zip, unzip. Even if you don't know unzip, just type in unzip. If there is a possibility that it can list the command for you. Yeah, it has listed the unzip command. Right click and hit enter, -y, where is a flag for the confirmation. If enter, the file will be downloaded. The unzip command will be downloaded. You can exit now, clear the screen. You are back onto the file. This time, you don't need to run the command, just press up arrow button. You will see list of commands which you have ran previously. Hit enter. Now it inflated the packages for you. Clear the screen. You will see now Apache extracted zip file. I don't want to use this Apache zip file. So remove Apache. This time it identifies two files. Is that you want to remove this or you want to remove .zip hyphen bin.zip. Anyone else? No. Anyone else? Apache hyphen name. I don't want to use this name. I want to rename it or I want to move the content. So move Apache into everything into a folder called Apache or Maven. It's a new folder. If there is no folder, it will create a folder for you. That it has created a folder. The contents of this have been moved into a folder called Maven. I would like to go ahead and do cd Maven. Here, the contents of the file. Can I expect a quick confirmation from all of you there regarding the extraction of a file and download, how to download a file by using wget. Clear to all of you people? Fine. Now, this is very important. If you guys pay a little more attention, you'll understand now. See, a file in Linux is measured by the permissions. Whatever the permissions that you have towards the file, you are measured by the file permissions. So every file will have a permissions that are governed by the user associated with it. Okay, the permissions given to the group of users and the permission given to the outside world. So they use an octal way to identify. 4 is to read, 2 is to write, 1 is to execute. Now people, if I write 7, what does it mean? It means 4 plus 2 plus 1. That means a user who's given this right of 7, he can read it, write it, he can execute. If this is 0, no permission at all. This is 0, no permission. How does the number 700 is? That means for the first privilege is given to the user. That means 700. Current user, let's say if I run this command 700 by the file name, 700 means the current user can read, can write, can explore. The outside world can execute, the user can execute it. Outside world groups, you can't do anything. So people, what is the least permission that you can give for a user following this pattern? What is the least permission people do you believe? Let's first explore it.
Read.
Can I say 400? 400 is like read, no write, node execution for the user, outside world, and group. Let's do that now. Let me just do for a file. So let me just check a file. Yeah, there is a file. ls-al. You see this file, the file 3.html. The worst thing that I can do is here. This is the worst thing. 777, everything outside world, file 3.html. Now if you do ls-al, you see the worst a file can have. Read, write, read, write, read, write, execute. Anybody can do anything on this file. I want to minimize this. So what is the least privileged people that you prefer? chmod 100 file 3. Now you can see ls-al that user can only read. Neither he can write into this file, neither he can execute this file. So that's how least privileges are required. So AWS says, please preserve the least preference or give least permissions possible to your key pairs. People, have you understood now the purpose of chmod? If you have understood, can I expect a quick confirmation from everyone there regarding this change? chmod? Clear? Okay. Now, there will be scenarios where we have to make servers, make the server into a web server. So I am dependent on using web server installation. I think we've already discussed it, but let me just once again put a light on it. I want to learn. I want to make sure that I go ahead and pick the privileges of root. Okay. What I want to do is I want to reach so web server. What do you mean by web server? So web server is a kind of a server that does installation. Or what is a kind of server? That means it takes the request from the clients, resolves the request, that traffic, the web traffic that is coming, resolves the web traffic. So we have plenty of web servers, like industry uses web servers list. Let me just web servers list. So there are plenty, like Apache HTTP server, Nginx is very popular, Tomcat is very popular, IIS is for Windows. There are some open source. These are all open source products like Apache, Nginx, Tomcat. They're open source products. So you can install it. How you go ahead and install it? So you can say app -get install Apache 2. You might ask me, how do you get this command? So if you want to get this command, you can just mention Apache server HTTP on Ubuntu. Just type in Ubuntu, you'll get the method to configure it and install it. So you can start getting started with the installation. Sudo update and install the Apache. You can even run this command Apache 2. Enter. It does ask your confirmation. Do you want to proceed? Capital Y. Enter. Now Apache installation getting through. Okay. Now what does he say? He say pick up your IP address and resolve it. But this is a virtual machine. So it's like, I want you to understand this one. So this is my laptop. Okay. On my laptop, I have installed Oracle VirtualBox, OVB, or my operating system, which is Windows in this case, Windows 10. I have installed OVB, the Oracle VirtualBox. the OAV with the help of Vagrant on one side and provisioning this VM, Vagrant Ubuntu -trusty 64. This is my Vagrant VM. So I'll call VM. Now, where did I install Apache? Did I install Apache on my Windows 10 people, or is it my VM? Where did I install Apache server? The web server. Where did I install the web server?
VM.
VM, right? So VM has port 80 to be exposed. I have to expose this port 80. So what I have to do now, I have to tell that port 80 of this VM has to get mapped to my operating system. There should be a port. So this is called node, or this is called host port, and this is called guest port, wherever the guest is available. So if you want to understand a little more about it, here in your file it is available. It is saying, how do you want to configure? I want to configure guest. This is a guest, right? My VM is a guest. So 80 of my port, which is under the Vagrant file. Don't mess it out. This is under the Vagrant file. I want to map with the host. So 8080 in my current laptop is already associated, which is binded for Jenkins. So on the day I was mentioning you, instead of 8080, you may get started with using 8081. 8081 is also mapped with another application, which is HTTP Tomcat. So I'm planning to use port 8082. So whatever that, whenever I type local host and resolve it using port 8082, what is going to happen? This port 8082 is binded to my guest 80 and it will resolve my Apache server. People, have you understood now guest and port, guest and host, and the port connections? Clear to all of you? If you want, I'll explain you once again. So in my current laptop with the Windows operating system, which you have done installation, which is host operating system, Windows 10 is the host. If you're using laptop and you're using a MacBook, Mac OS is your host operating system. On top of it, what you will install? Your VirtualBox, which is your hypervisor. Next to that, the provisioning tool, which is the Vagrant in this case. So using Vagrant, with the help of Oracle VirtualBox, what did I create? I created a VM. So now in this VM, it is doing a configuration that the guest operating system port 80. See that port 8080 of the host. What you want to map with? You want to map with guest port 8080. That is like 8080. I'm sorry, 80 port of the guest. That is a virtual machine guest port 80 is getting mapped to host port 8080. I would recommend you people, instead of use port 8080, use port another port 80, 8082, 83, 84, continue. Why? Because we have to bind our port 8080 to the Jenkins. So don't use port 8080, use 8082, 8083, 8084, or even if you want port 9090. But the point I want to give a clear picture is how is that your system is now resolving to this particular port? How is that we are doing a resolution? Here, people, how is that port mapping? We call port mapping. In the same way, in AWS Cloud also, we will do a port mapping. Virtual machine port mapping will be binded to an instance port mapping. Can I expect a clear picture to all of you people once again? Clear with this port mapping? Okay, fine. I was just highlighting about this method, Vagrant, which is so big enough. It is not looking good. I want to change the host name. Sudo host name. This is demo, the name of the PC is demo, or I put it as WAG. You can exit sudo su. This time you see the name will become WAG. This time, this will help me to understand What is the host name? Just type in host name. It will give you the name as clear to all of you people. Host names will be very helpful when you are using multiple machines. So when the black screens appears, you will not be able to just identify by the names, by the IP addresses. You will need host names, meaningful host names to understand. So give the host name, sudo host name followed by the name. It will pick the name. And right now it is listing the name right now given to the machine. So okay, the other commands like SSH, what I'll do is people, I'll just keep this, I'll do one thing. I'll just hand over this file to all of you people. Keep this file because these commands of SSH are little exhaustive in the sense that we need a dependency, like we need to start a machine in cloud and then we need to do an SSH via the IP addresses. So what we'll do is I'll keep this file and I'll share this file to all of you. What you do is to this commands that whatever the basics that we have discussed in today's session, make a practice of it. This will be very helpful for you whenever you're using commands. In next coming sessions, like the continuation when we get started in AWS Cloud, where we need to do an SSH, where we need to do an RDP. So all these commands I'll explain you in little more detail along with the usage of the command and the explanation for the command. So till this time, please use these commands, practice it, write your own commands, practice it, learn from it, and this will be very, very useful in your cloud-based scenarios. So can I expect a quick confirmation from all of you there that you have understood the purpose of today's session and the basic commands that we're going to be using so that it is a point of clarity for all of us that we are at the same point, right? How do you go ahead and practice it? Pick up a Linux machine, practice it. Look, it will be very helpful for you. Okay, so I'll have the session people for now. So I would make sure that from tomorrow onwards, we are getting started on the AWS part. So just to be sure that you guys, tomorrow the agenda is completely, we will pick up the project learning where we will spend time in understanding the requirement and how did I build a solution for this and what services did I pick, a complete overview of the project. That will be the agenda for tomorrow's session. So based upon tomorrow's session, we will get started with the deployments into the AWS Cloud. That will start with our AWS Cloud. So any questions for other people before I wrap this discussion for today's topic? I remember there were some challenges regarding the Red Hat. I hope the challenges, I remember someone who has raised a question regarding the Red Hat yesterday in terms of enterprise Linux. I hope when we attempt Red Hat version and you just remind me while trying provisioning a Red Hat version in AWS Cloud and see is a kind of blocker because AWS has an enterprise OS available. So we will use that and we'll check is that really a problem with the enterprise RHEL Linux licenses. So if it is done because AWS has the updated operating system, so we will use that and we will check it out. Please do remind me. I forgot the user. I forgot the person who raised this question. Please remind me that question once again. Remind me the scenario. So I'll provision in cloud and check it out. Is that dependency on the Linux repositories, enterprise RHEL Linux repositories? Okay. So apart from this, any other question, people? If we are done, so what I'm going to do is in the meanwhile, I'm going to exit the scenario and make another exit. And if this done, so I'm going to destroy this. Destroy Vagrant. Thank you so much. You have been of great help to me. I was able to practice my commands. Now it's time for you to get yourself destroyed. That's all, guys, for my side. And that's all for the recording as well. Admin, thank you.